Hey, welcome back to the Bound by Art podcast. I'm Missi Blue, tattoo artist, business owner, and your guide to navigating the chaos that is the tattoo industry. If you're an artist looking to grow your business, attract the right clients, and learn how to survive this career without losing your damn mind, then you are in the right place. Every week, I'll be bringing real talk, actionable tips, and hard-earned lessons from my own journey with a side of good vibes and a little bit of sarcasm. Whether you're new to the game, feeling stuck, or you just need a kick in the ass to get that spark back again, this is the show for you. Welcome to Bound by Art. Now let's get to work. Today I'm reflecting on the biggest turning points in my career, moments that challenged me, pushed me, and ultimately shaped the artist that I am and the person that I am today. I'm diving into these pivotal moments and how they happened, what I learned, and why growth almost always starts with discomfort. Let's get into it. So I was going through my notes app on my phone and cleaning it up and deleting old notes. And if you know anything about me, I'm like a crazy lister. So I have like a million fucking notes on this app. And I don't even have just one note app, but specifically the one that is the oldest I was going through and deleting stuff from. And I found this note from 2017 that just really made me take a step back and appreciate how far I've actually come since then. And I've just made these insanely big strides in my career since then. So this note was a little wish list and like what my goals were in my career at that time. And to be honest, it's kind of embarrassing that I was shooting as low as I was. But I'm going to just read the stuff that was on this note. So goal number 1 was to work a schedule that was packed full of awesome and fun tattoos. Goal number 2, get a good amount of regular clients and hit 1,000 followers on Instagram. Goal number 3, make at least $500 a day. And goal number 4, love my job and my workplace. So number 1, it kind of tells you where I was at in 2017. So just, without any specific part of this note telling me anything, I can tell that I wasn't doing awesome tattoos that were fun for me. And I wasn't getting a good amount of regular clients. And I must have been under 100,000 or under 1,000 followers on Instagram. And I wasn't making $500 a day. And I probably hated my job and where I was working. So sounds like I was kind of miserable and really trying to manifest something better than that. So I can tell you that I have successfully met and exceeded all of these goals now, and I'm pretty proud of that. And even though I feel like those goals were very low hanging fruit, maybe at the time they seemed unreachable, and I'm not really sure because I don't really remember where I was at in 2017. But either way, I did that. And the Missi from 2017 would be so stoked to see where I am now. And that's honestly just something to celebrate and be proud of. But the more important thing I want to talk about today is not what I did, but how did I do it? Because appreciating where I am and how far I've come is great and all, but it's not going to be useful to me for continuing this success. I want to look back at what I've done to get here and really examine those things so that I can do more of that in the future. So I sat down and thought about it, and I went back through everything that's happened since 2017 and kind of picked out the things that had the biggest influence on my career that I can remember. I probably am not remembering all of them, but these are the things that stick out to me most. So in 2018, I attended my first ever tattoo conference, not a convention, a conference. So this was I think it was 3 days of seminars. So every day we had 2 or 3 presenters on stage, teaching us whatever it is that they specialize in teaching. And it was honestly so eye-opening and so incredible. Not only just the information that I learned during these conferences and these seminars, but the people that I met for the first time in my career. I met people who weren't just douchebag rock star tattooers. I met people who wanted to grow and learn and collaborate and network with each other. And they weren't just there to party and Actually, this reminds me, there was like one person that was there to party. And I remember the day before the conference started, we were down at the pool. I had met some really cool people. We're hanging out at the pool at the hotel, and this dude comes in fucking wasted, and he dives into the pool head first. Keep in mind, this is a 4 foot pool. There's no deep end. And this drunk dumbass just fucking dives into the pool. He hits the ground, like the bottom of the pool, fucking bleeding from the face. He comes up out of the water and he's like, his face is like gushing blood and it's all in the water. And I don't know if you've ever seen like blood in the water. It just like spreads rapidly. So he's in the water and he's like, shh. And he's looking at us like, don't tell anybody that I just dived in the pool. And we're like, bro, you're fucking bleeding from your face. Like, what are you doing? So he couldn't, I guess he didn't understand that he was bleeding until he finally like touched his face and looked at his hands. And then like, I guess it occurred to him. We like threw a towel at him and we were like, bro, you got to get out of the fucking pool. You're bleeding everywhere. And we're telling everyone like, get out of the pool. There's blood in the pool. Like everybody get out. And we're like, what is this dude doing? And he's like fully covered in tattoos. So like very clearly he was there with us. He was like part of the conference. Not one other person is getting hammered like this. Not one other person is doing this. And we're just chilling. We weren't even in the pool, thank God, because ew. But we're just like chilling on the side of the pool, just bullshitting, talking about tattoos and whatever. And, you know, this dude shows up. So anyway, no one else was there for that. No one else was there to like party and get like fucking rowdy and wild, which is what I'm used to from like conventions. So it was really awesome to see that there was other people like me out there that wanted to just learn and grow and like meet other cool tattooers. And I had pretty much given up on the idea that people like that existed. Anytime people would ask me like, I don't know, like they would say, oh, do you know like this person or that person that tattoos in the area? I would be like, yeah, I don't really associate with tattoo artists. I don't really like most of them. So I kind of just, you know, don't really make friends with tattoo artists because that had always been my experience. And so, and at that point I'm already sober. Like I didn't drink anymore. I didn't party anymore. So that was very much like the vibe back then was like everybody's drinking and like hanging out, doing drugs and whatever. And that just wasn't me anymore. So I was having a really hard time finding my place in the industry. And so I just kept to myself. But it really opened my eyes to the world of tattoo education in general. And it really showed me what was possible for just being able to get this like continued education and maybe even, you know, there was a moment where I was watching, I want to say it was Squire Strahan was up there speaking, and I was like, because he said something, yeah, it was him, because he was talking about how he attended his first Explorer conference and that he never thought that he would be on the stage actually presenting at one. And I was like, damn, I was like, maybe that could be me someday. I don't know. Because I don't know, I've always been like a person that likes to teach. So I was like, oh, maybe that could be a thing that I do in the future sometime. But it just showed me what's possible. And like, there's more to this industry than just like showing up and doing tattoos and going home. At that same conference, another very pivotal moment in my career was getting my portfolio critiqued by a couple of artists. So specifically, so they have an after party after all of the like after the seminars are over. Later that night, everyone goes to this. I don't want to call it an after party. It's like a meet and greet. Like they do critiques, they do drawing nights and stuff. It's not a party at all. So you go there just to like meet and hang out with other artists. And all of the presenters were doing critiques for portfolios. If you wanted to, you could just go up to them and like give them your portfolio and they would sit with you and talk with you. So terrifying, right? So Liz Cook was the first one to do a portfolio critique for me. And I just look up to her so much because her color is just insane. She's so fucking smart about color. I don't know if you've ever seen one of her seminars, but she just nerds the fuck out about color. It's awesome. So I asked her to do my portfolio critique and she was so nice and she fucking hyped me up so much. And I just I just loved talking to her, and I loved hearing her, like, the way that she critiques a portfolio was so cool because she did not at all focus on what I did wrong and what I needed to improve, which has its, has its uses, and that is important, but she was focused on what I was doing right. And I like things that I had never really considered before, but she really was like, this is your thing. This is what you should lean into. This is what I see for you, and this is what I see that you're doing well. You should do more of that. I very rarely had people critique my work in the past. So for someone to even take the time to do that in the first place, but also to do it in that way, because usually you're just like, I have no idea what I should be doing. How do I know what my style is? How do I know what I should keep doing, what I should stop doing, what I should be doing more of? And it was just such a cool perspective to get from somebody that who clearly has her own style and has been doing this a long time and knows what she's talking about. So then my next experience with the portfolio critiques, I talked about this in an episode, a few episodes back, but Teresa Sharp was the next person. So I waited until the end of the night. You can like listen to the whole story in that episode. I'll make sure it goes in the show notes. But so she, very different style of critique, kind of crushed my spirit a little bit and gave me a reality check, but it was very much needed. Like, it was a reality check I needed to fucking hear. And she just gave the truth the way that it needed to be said. It knocked me down a peg into reality, and it showed me what my weaknesses were and what I was kind of blind to before. And it helped me learn how to give and take feedback. Both of those critiques did. So what did I like about Liz's critiques? What did I like about Teresa's? What did I not like about each of them? And it really just gave me perspective on, if I were going to critique somebody else's portfolio, like, how would I do this? And it also made me realize that I love and crave feedback myself. And it's something that I think has really been missing in my career. And it kind of set me on this path of constantly checking in with myself and holding myself accountable. And it gave me real, like, measurable things to work on. So then in 2019, I did the Philly convention, which at that point, I think I'd been out of the convention circuit for about 10 years because my kids were little, and I just really couldn't do conventions. I didn't have a support system that would allow me to travel. I just didn't have the time. I didn't have the money. So I really had not done a convention in a long, long time, unless it was like the Baltimore convention where it was close by. But I was asked to fill in last minute. This girl that I didn't know, she worked for my friend, and he called me and was like, hey, would you want to fill in for this convention? Her booth mate just dropped out last second. And I had a plan that it was my birthday, actually. My birthday's on Valentine's Day, and it was Valentine's Day weekend was the convention, and I was about to go camping or something with my husband. And I was like, like, I kind of like, I've been wanting to do a convention after the Explorer conference. And this was the first opportunity because I didn't know anyone who was really like doing conventions at the time. So I ended up canceling my birthday trip so that I could go do this convention. And, it's Philly is crazy. It's a crazy convention if you've ever done it. It's very big. It's very busy. It's crazy. It's stressful. But I think that this moment, like going to this convention at the time I did, in the circumstance that I did, it really did change the path of my career. It helped me to find my passion for tattooing again. I was kind of on just autopilot for so long. Having young kids and tattooing is very hard. I can't say from the perspective of a dad, but from a mom's perspective, like, it was fucking rough. It was rough, especially being a single mom tattooing, and just my kids are back to back. They're only a year apart. So it was a lot. So my career just kind of like took a back seat for a while, and I just kind of was coasting and not really passionate about anything. And like, based on my goals from 2017, like, I wasn't real happy. I was kind of miserable, it sounds like, and just not having a good time. And being at this convention really just reignited that spark for me. And like the motivation and inspiration that I get from working at a convention is literally unmatched. And I had completely forgotten about that because it had been so long. And suddenly I remembered that conventions can actually be fun and exciting and not just work and no sleep, because the last convention I did was probably, over 10 years ago. I was still drinking and partying at that time. It is much harder to function at a convention when you drink all night, barely sleep, get up in the morning and go try and tattoo all day. It's fucking miserable and so stressful, and you just feel so wiped out at the end of the week. So I don't think I really had experienced too many conventions that were productive and like actually fun and inspiring. So it was also the beginning of a really important friendship for me. Although we're not friends anymore, I don't regret meeting her. I learned a lot from her, and even though she was way younger than me, there's so much to learn from everybody, and I hope that you guys also have this opinion. But I learned so much from her about like how to be with people and like how to network with people. She pushed me out of my comfort zone. I'm very introverted. I'm very shy in real life, and I'm not going to just go up and talk to strangers. I mean, I do now, but like back then, I would never do that, so she forced me to network, and she forced me to be less introverted, and she introduced me to people who would eventually also change my life. And one of those people was my friend James. And I met him that same year. So we did this convention together, and I ended up getting tattooed by him. I had never met him in my life. And I loved his work. Like as soon as I saw it, I was like, we're working with who? What? Like I was terrified to work next to this person because I was like, he's so fucking talented. That's really intimidating, but he ended up becoming this like mentor to me, and he challenges me as an artist. He inspires me to push my limits just by existing, and cheers me on and encourages me and inspired me to enter the contests at the conventions, which I'd never done before. And he'll help me brainstorm ideas for conventions and stuff. But like we became instant friends, and he also challenged me as a person. So he has been there through some crucial ups and downs in my career, in my personal life. He's been the voice of reason so many times, and just comes with brutal honesty, which I love, and just calls me on my bullshit when I need to, when no one else will. And just forces me to question myself and be real with myself, and just has inspired me to work on me, and gives such invaluable advice on business and art and life. And we just became really fast friends. And he was one of my first sober friends. I hadn't really met any other sober people in the industry. Like I was saying before, it was just this like party environment. And maybe it's just because I was hanging out with the wrong people, so that I didn't have the opportunity to meet people like this. But he was the first sober person that I'd met. And I had always just kept quiet about my sobriety a lot, and in order to just fit in. And knowing that I wasn't the only sober one out there just kind of inspired me to be more comfortable with sharing my story and being more open about being sober, and to stop hiding so much about it. In 2020, I opened my shop, another huge moment in my career, which obviously like that would be for anyone. But at the time I opened my shop, there was nothing like it. So I created it. I made a space for me and my clients that made sense for us. And I'm so proud to have built something that our area so desperately needed and didn't have at the time. So how did this change my career? Well, I learned a lot about my own resilience and my ability to follow through, because opening a shop is no small feat, especially right before COVID. So, a month after opening the shop, I got shut down for 3 months, and it takes a lot of grit and resilience to get through something like that. But it gave me the confidence that I can really achieve anything that I put my mind to. And it gave me a greater understanding of what I actually wanted out of this career and out of life in general, which was to support other artists and foster creativity and to help them grow in their careers. Which is why in 2021, I started my nonprofit for artists called Bound by Art. And it began as a way to just collaborate with on some really cool projects with my friends around the country. But as time went on, it sort of morphed into this other thing. I was really inspired by the community that I found through the Explorer conferences, and I wanted to bring that sense of community back home. So I started hosting art nights at the shop and invited all the local tattoo artists to come out. Not a lot of them came, but we did get some come out, which was really fucking cool. And we met some really cool local people. And we ended up learning some new ways of making art, which was awesome. Like, we all learned at the same time, like, we could have been all different levels of tattooers, but you put us in a room trying to wire sculpt, and none of us have done it before. We're all fucking sucking at it and learning together. And it was just like a really cool experience. And we ended up building this really cool little community in my local area, which created this other idea that led to an even bigger dream, having a platform that supports artists and unites creativity, which then led to this very podcast. In 2022, I had 2 artists quit and go open their own shop, which they were my only artists. It was just me and them. Why do I see this as a good thing? It really made me reassess what was wrong in my business, because people don't leave for no reason. Like, if I was doing all the right things, if I was, if they were happy here, they would not have left. So what was wrong? What was wrong with the business? What could I have done differently? Well, for one, I could have heard them when they said that this wasn't forever and they wanted to go open a shop someday. But, I thought I could change them. I thought I could change their minds. I thought I could win them over. I thought they would stay forever because I wanted them to, and we were having a good time. So that's my bad, How could I be better next time? The biggest disappointment for me was just the lack of communication. I didn't know that they were going to open a shop until it was built. They had been working on it for months and months, and I didn't know. And that feels real shitty. It feels like a betrayal. It feels like fuck, I thought we were friends. I thought you would tell me. I thought you would tell me when you were thinking of it. I thought you would be like, hey, we signed the lease. We're going to work on our shop. I don't know. And I'm not like a typical shop owner that would be like, get the fuck out, you're fired, I really wanted to support them. If that was the dream that they had, I wanted to help them with that. And, I can't really blame them for not believing that, because the experience of the industry would say no one is going to do that. No one's going to be cool like that. But, so I can't really blame them, but I blame myself because I wasn't present enough. I had so much going on. I had too much going on, and I wasn't checking in with people. And it really inspired me to come up with a plan and fix it. And now I operate very differently. I stay in constant contact with everyone that works here. We have weekly meetings. We have monthly one-on-ones. I'm constantly checking in with everyone, and I don't let time go by where we don't talk. I don't let time go by where we don't discuss, what are your goals? What are you working on? Is this still aligned with your future? Is anything changing? So I'm constantly checking in with things, because I don't ever want to be blindsided again like that, because it fucking sucked. So it also made me realize some other things that, my actions weren't aligned with my goals. I was doing everything for everyone else and not for my business and not for me. And I was hiring the wrong people. So like I said, I knew from day one they wanted to go open their own shop. Why did I think that was ever going to change? I'm not saying that them working here was the bad decision, or I hired them they were the wrong people, but it did make me realize that if I want people to work here that are going to be here for a while, I can't be hiring somebody that's I really want to open a shop out the fucking gate. That's not going to end well, So, but yeah, just taking that time to reassess the business, I was realizing I was hiring the wrong people in other scenarios too. And I wanted to always see the good in people. And I really, really was just out there ignoring red flags. Classic Missi, ignoring red flags. So it really, it gave me the chance to step back and be what the fuck's going on here? What am I doing? How can I fix this? So it ended up being a good thing for the business overall. In 2022, I trained my first apprentice, Vicky. So she worked for me. She was my shop manager for, I think, a year and a half, and then, expressed this interest in learning how to tattoo. So, despite my not ever wanting an apprentice, which I said often, I did agree to teach her and apprentice her. And through that process, I actually realized that I like teaching, and I honestly didn't mind having an apprentice, and I was good at this, and it's something that I probably would want to do again. So why was this a pivotal moment? I got the best coworker out of the deal, first of all. And it also got me invested in the business again. And I had hope again for the future, which also created this bigger sense of team, because I was really I was really just starting to feel like it was like me against the world, and that no one was on my side and no one cared. And it really changed my perspective, because there might be people out there like that, and there might be people that come through here that are like that, but not everyone. Not everyone's like that. It was also a huge moment for me because we learn best by teaching. So you don't fully know something, you don't fully understand something until you're able to teach it. And having to put what I do into words in order to teach someone meant that I have to actually analyze and understand what I'm doing. And it got me out of autopilot and into more of an intentional mindset while I'm tattooing, which is keeping me honest and accountable with my own work, because I can't be telling her like, don't do this, never do that, and then could be like turn around and be over here doing that exact thing that I said don't do. So, and like I better have the perfect line work if I'm going to go over there and critique her line work, so it really kept me on my toes and made me just really question my own work before being able to teach her stuff. So in 2023, I started an online business program called Well Oiled. It was like an online business program that taught me all the things that I needed to know about running a business, basically. So kind of like getting a business degree without having to actually go to a college and do all of that. And it was more like specified to what I'm doing specifically. So you only learned what you needed to learn. You didn't learn like all of business. So they kind of like watered it down for you for where you needed it. So I never knew anything about business before opening a shop. It was just supposed to be me. I didn't think it mattered. I was just going to open the shop and just tattoo and not really run it as a business, more as like a private studio. And once I started like collecting all these people, all of a sudden I was like, fuck, I probably should know something about business at this point, because these people are counting on me. And now it's not just me that's at risk, it's everybody. So I really needed to learn this stuff. When I started, I did not have time. I did not have the money. I barely could afford it, but I needed it and I made it work, and I did whatever I had to do to get it done. So it saved me. It saved me from myself. I went from being super overwhelmed, not knowing which way was up, to fully understanding what my goals and my direction were. It helped me to understand what was important and what was a distraction. It taught me how to run my business. It taught me how to ask for help, which I so needed to learn. It taught me how to let go of needing to control everything, which I'm still working on. It gave me a roadmap for how to get where I want to be. And I am so grateful that I actually made the decision to do that. In 2024, I started the Bound by Art podcast. It was something that I thought about for a really long time, but I didn't know anything about podcasting, and it sounded really scary. So I would just back burner it all the time. And when it finally happened, I thought, I'm just going to try this out for a while and see where it goes. And I ended up actually enjoying it more than expected. I still have days where I'm like, fuck, why am I doing this? This is so time consuming and this is hard. And I don't get paid for this. I just do this because, like I said, like I want to help people. I love supporting artists, and I do actually enjoy it. But some days is a little rough trying to force myself to do it. But it's opened up a lot of opportunities for me that I never would have had before. I've met a ton of people and made connections that I probably wouldn't have. And I'm learning and growing as I go. Again, like I said, you learn best by teaching. So you don't fully understand something until you've taught it. And me being able to translate what I'm learning and share it with you is helping me understand it. It's helping me to learn it. So on top of that, I have to keep learning and researching things to keep creating episodes because like I'm trying to stay ahead of this. I can't keep talking about the same thing, but it keeps me curious. It keeps me interested, and it keeps me trying to do better every time. And it really keeps me accountable. And I'm also just training that part of my brain that likes to quit things when it's hard. So I'm still here making it happen every week. And even when it's the last thing I want to fucking do, I always feel pretty good afterwards though. So it's giving me that reward. It's giving me a purpose. The more I do this, the more I feel like it's truly helping people. And that's especially apparent when you actually tell me that, because I get messages all the time from people saying they listen and it's just what they needed to hear and that they're getting something out of it. And that motivates me to keep going. And it's really awesome to hear, because a lot of days I'm sitting here talking like, I don't know, in my mind, I'm like, nobody's going to fucking hear this. Like, what? Who cares what I say? Like, no one's listening to this shit. And then I get a message and I'm like, oh, somebody listened. What did I say in the episode? Oh, fuck. I have to go back and listen to it and see like how dumb I sounded. But the people are listening, and it's awesome to hear that feedback. So if you ever feel like reaching out to let me know something I said hit home for you or changed the way you think or helped solve a problem, I really do want to hear about it, because otherwise I feel like I'm just talking to myself. Which if I was, that's fine too, because I honestly need to hear a lot of the shit myself. But it means more if it's not just for me. And that brings us up to today. And I'm sure that I could spend some more time thinking on this, and I could come up with a bunch of other moments in my career that shaped my path and got me to where I am now. But these are the big ones. And you might notice a few patterns in this. Number one, all of these moments were scary as fuck for me at first. And I pushed through it and I did it anyway. And none of these moments were comfortable or easy or came naturally to me. I had to put myself in uncomfortable situations so that I could grow. And I was learning and growing with each of these moments, always trying to improve and to get to the other side of the discomfort and trying to find ways to better myself as an artist and as a person. And lastly, not one of these moments was done alone. Every single pivotal moment in my career, I have someone to thank. There was community involved, there were people contributing, and more than that, I was contributing. And the more I contributed, the more I've been rewarded. And the rewards have never been what I would expect them to be, but it's all been so worth it. All right, guys, that's it for today's episode. I hope you're feeling inspired and ready to make some moves today. Remember, it's all about showing up, putting in the work, and staying true to yourself. If you got something out of today's episode, share it with a friend who might need to hear it, and make sure to subscribe so we can keep this momentum going. Get updates on all of our latest episodes, events, and more by following us on social media at Bound by Art Project and by heading over to the website boundbyart.com. Thanks for hanging out and putting up with my shit. I'll see you next time. Now shut up, quit making excuses, and go get better.